The judiciary had degenerated to beneath a joke. The kinds of things we now see from our courts are not things that anyone can look at and say the judiciary is serious. And that's why the politicians have captured the courts. And that is what is now dominating our election jurisprudence. Look at the judgment in the Edo State governorship election petition. It's a disgrace. A court should not become counsel for one side of the dispute. What a court should be doing is resolving a dispute between two or more different sides. But in the Edo election petition case, governorship election petition case, the judges were basically counsel for the APC. That's not what judges should be. They should not be articulating for one side or the other.
Okay.
So this is the standard that the judiciary has been reduced to, or has allowed itself to be reduced to, and it's disgraceful for the most part.
Okay, quite unfortunate.
The week after he showed up in Calabar, Mr. Wike was in Abuja. Who was the next judge that he acquired as handbag? The president of the Court of Appeal. It just happens that the president of the Court of Appeal is going to be the person constituting the appeal panel in the Edo governorship election petition, in respect of which Wike's cousin was the electoral commissioner. And you're telling people not to look at all of these facts and draw their own conclusions. Are we that stupid?
Okay, I can see the sweet conjunction of coincidence there. Prof.
Hello, everyone. I know this is not something new. This is not something that we all don't know about, but it's something that wherever we see it, we need to talk about it. Wherever we see it, we need to amplify it. Wherever we see it, we need to show our outrage. The judiciary has really failed itself and also failed the nation. If there's one place where corruption is not supposed to get that, it's judiciary is one of them. Then you have the police. You also have, electoral bodies. But all of these places have been captured in our country, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable because in terms of getting good governance, one of the ways that people can do it is by ensuring that people are voted at when it's time to for voting. You vote at people who are not doing very well, bring in other people and try them. If they don't do well again, you vote them out. If they do well, you vote them in again, and until you feel they are not doing the way that you want them to do. And now that we have a judiciary that is captured, what it then means is that we don't even have power to do any of this. Businesses would not want to come to Nigeria because when you have some judicial issue, or the courts can just come and just give any kind of judgment, and it stands in that way. So the effect of having a judiciary that is not independent, the effect of having a judiciary that is captured is so multifaceted, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and it touches almost every aspect of the nation. It affects us in so many ways than just the politicians getting their way and getting election tribunal issue to be declared in their favor. So we're having so much, and I just want us to not just look at it and feel that yeah, we know. No, even though we know, we're outraged. We must show our outrage at this anomaly that is going on, at this heinous way of doing things that is going on. You see some judiciary coming, some judgment coming out of the judiciary. Even you're ashamed on their behalf. Honestly, you're feeling shame for them, but they absolutely do not feel anything, and it just bothers one, and you're thinking, what is going on? And this thing is very systematic. They've been doing this for a very long time, in terms of bringing in the kind of people that get in there. The kind of people, how are people even employed? Yeah. How are people even appointed? How did they get there? Why is it that the bench where if you look at the pay is not there, but that's where some set of people are flocking themselves. Politicians are having their relatives, their spouses, their children occupy these offices, and even some their mistresses and their whatever. There have been accusation of that. There's been a whole lot of corruption in the way we get our judges. So a judge that gets it in corrupt manner, he's not going to give any good thing. And the judges who are incorruptible, they are being punished. They are being punished in many ways. How are we going to continue to allow this to happen in our country? How are we going to continue looking the other way while this is happening? It's a major issue, and just imagine in the next 30 years, this thing, we are still discussing this thing like this, or it's even worse. That's how the people before us didn't know it would happen and it got there. That's how we too, we didn't know it would happen and we got there. When we were in our 20s, if anybody had told me that Nigeria was going to be worse than what we had then, I was like, no. But here we are today. Here we are today. And so what it tells me is that if we do nothing, it's going to be worse, worse, worse tomorrow. And that's the reason why we must, not just to do a little, we must be strategic and put in our all and come together and do this thing. You see, this thing where we are focused on our differences, we do not have the luxury of focusing on our differences. What tribe you are, what religion you practice should not be the conversation we have on the table. When we finish solving all the problems that we have, we can then have those conversations. Until then, our focus is on one thing: how do we get good governance, accountability, transparency? How do we get good governance, accountability, transparency? We must keep repeating this thing and just focus on it. When they say tunnel vision, we are not seeing any other thing other than that particular thing. All we want is, how do we get good governance, accountability, and transparency? Because when we get these things, a lot of stress will be off our shoulders. We are not living in Nigeria, we are merely surviving. How do you come on earth? You spend all your life, you were surviving, and then you now die and go, you were surviving. Haba, mana, haba. We must do better. We must. It's going to take hard work. The people who are destroying, they are working. It's taking them hard work. They don't get it easy. We must put in that work and say, not on our watch will our country be destroyed. Let us give to our children a country better than the one we met. If we give to our country, if we give to our children a country worse than the one we met, we've become absolute failure, deserving of zero respect.